Mexico thinks they have a very strong chance of avoiding the 5% tariff hike that 45 put on them last week. Mexico said Tuesday it thinks there's likely to be an agreement with the United States this week that will avoid a 5% tariff on Mexican goods announced last week by 45. By what we have seen so far, we will be able to reach an agreement, Mexican Foreign Minister Marcelo Ebrard, I don't know if I'm saying that right, said during a press conference held at the Mexican embassy. This is why I think the imposition of tariffs can be avoided. Ebrard added that despite his optimism, his team will also be ready for a non-agreement scenario. Ebrard arrives in Washington over the weekend to meet Wednesday with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Mexico calls the potential tariff hurtful to both economies and useless to slow down the flow of the Central Americans immigrating to the north. Mexico plans to stick to its usual strategy of not mixing the topic of migration with trade while negotiating. We are not willing to mix the two together, Ebrard said. 45 says he'll impose the tariffs beginning June 10th to force Mexico to keep mostly Central American migrants from crossing into the United States. That's gonna fucking help because they're gonna still keep coming in. It's unclear what more Mexicans will do, what Mexico can do, and what will be tough. What will be enough? Sorry, to satisfy 45 because the United States has not presented concrete benchmarks to assess whether the U.S. ally is stemming the migrant flow from Central America. The only thing that satisfies 45 is the people that bounce up and down on his dick. Those are the people that satisfy him. As a sign of good faith, Mexico should immediately stop the flow of people and drugs through their country into our southern border. Like 45 has any proof that that's what they're doing. They can do it if they want. 45 tweeted Monday from London. 45's Republican allies warned that tariffs on Mexican imports will hit U.S. consumers, and it would harm the economy and jeopardize the new United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement trade pact that the White House wants Congress to approve. Texas Republican Senator John Cornyn warned Monday about the consequences of imposing tariffs. He says we need to put our heads together and try to come up with a solution, he said. The diplomatic counteroffensive launched by Mexico this week includes a Tuesday meeting of trade negotiator Jesus Ciat, I don't know how you say that name, with U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer. I don't know how you say it. The tariff threat comes just as the administration has been pushing the passage of the USMCA, which would update the North American Free Trade Agreement. Mexico and Canada already started the ratification process of the deal through their own Congress. On Monday, U.S. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross, fucking old fuck piece of shit, met with Mexican Economy Minister Griselda Marquez and U.S. Agriculture Secretary Sonny Perdue hosted his Mexican counterpart, Victor Villalobos.